noise!
Hello and welcome to another edition of Truth and Rhythm. Brought to you by funkandstuff.net, this is the interview show that gets deep in the pocket with contemporary music's foremost masters of the groove. I am your host, Scott Dr. GX Goldfine, musicologist, creative arts journalist, and multimedia pro. Whether you're watching the video version of this show or the audio-only podcast version, I thank you so much for your continued interest and support in this show. If you enjoy this programming, there are several ways to help support Truth and Rhythm, as well as contribute to further enhancements and expansion, plus get some sweet perks and rewards in the process. First, subscribe to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube, which is where Truth and Rhythm lives, and be an advocate by spreading the word among fellow funk, jazz, and R&B music lovers. Second, join Truth and Rhythm's new membership program through Patreon, which features 3 tiers for truth believers, truth seekers, and truth crusaders. You can also submit a direct donation to the cause anytime at funkandstuff.net. At that site, which is loaded with awesome content, you can also purchase the book Everything's on the One, The First Guide of Funk. Shop for official Truth and Rhythm and Funk and Stuff merchandise, and use the Amazon links for all of your online purchases, which allocates a percentage to this show. Sponsorship opportunities are available as well. Contact me directly at scottg@funkandstuff.net. For those of you who go the extra step in supporting the show, you have my heartfelt gratitude for allowing us to continue to shine the light on those special artists whose quest is to find truth in rhythm. I'm delighted to welcome to the Truth and Rhythm Mothership original members of one of the most popular R&B funk bands of the 1980s, Ready for the World. Storming out of the gate in 1985 with their platinum-selling self-titled debut album, the group scored 10 R&B top 30 hits, including the charts-topping crossover smash, Oh Sheila. Other popular dance and slow jams included Digital Display, Love You Down, Tonight, Deep Inside Your Love, My Girly, He Can Do It Like This, He Can Do It Like That.
Can he do it like this?
Yeah.
Can he do it like that?
Yeah, that's the part in parentheses, but either way you cut it, it's a jam.
Thank you.
RFTW dropped a new single a couple years back and continues to deliver thrilling live shows. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Good.
So
thanks for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Let's have you guys introduce yourselves and tell the people, what you did in the group. So let's start with Willie.
Okay. My name is Willie Triplett. I sing, do percussions, and I play keyboards.
And hello, I'm Gerald Valentine, the drummer, producer, writer.
Whatever the party calls for.
Yeah, I'm the main drummer.
Excellent. Yeah, we got the rhythm guys for Truth and Rhythm today, so that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, sir.
Where are you guys coming to us from today? Willie, where are you at?
I'm out in Pensacola, Florida today. Just enjoying the sun, the nice weather. It's been real hot here. It rains on and off, but I'm enjoying it.
And home is Atlanta, right? So you're just on a trip there.
That is correct. Home is Atlanta. I love Atlanta. Been there since 2003, and I'm not going back.
All right. Well, I'm your southern neighbor here in Charlotte, so that's a
Awesome.
cool thing. Yeah. Gerald, where are you today?
Are you in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay, and my son just moved there about a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I'm in Flint, Michigan still.
Okay. So a homebody, right?
Yes, sir. And a nice weather today. It ain't cold. It ain't hot. It's in the middle. that Michigan weather.
Gotta love that. So, I was just telling Willie before we went on the air that, it's so much of a thrill to have you guys on, because I was disc jockeying in the 80s and 90s, and I wore out those extended versions of, Digital Display and Sheila and even Love You Down. So cool to have you on, and been wanting to do this for a while. So thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, you're
We
welcome.
appreciate you spinning our records for, so long, especially back then when we were trying to, get established in the whole bit. So we appreciate the DJs like yourself.
Oh yeah, especially those extended versions, man. Man,
yeah,
those were
kept the
some fun
folks
records
on the dance floor.
Yeah, those some great records. Yeah,
I was glad
Timeless.
to have some funk that crossed over, so I could get away with it with any crowd.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right in. So Flint, Michigan, where you still are, Gerald, you guys are from there. What was it like growing up, and how did y'all gravitate towards music?
I guess I can start off. No, go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, we started back in the 80s, the mid 80s, I would say. I was playing drums and I was with the guy that played the bass. It was just two of us doing music and doing talent shows and arts festivals and things like that. And came across some other guys that was doing talent shows, and they were in their own little group. And that's pretty much how we met, through doing talent shows. And Gordon and Melvin was in the group, and Willie had this thing going. He can tell you about that. But yeah, we just met, doing talent shows, and Melvin and Gordon got us all together to form a group.
Gerald, what made you decide on drums?
As a kid growing up, I came out playing drums. I remember growing up as a kid, I used to be in my mom's sink playing the sink, because the sink has different semitones in it. So I would play inside the sink. I would pull out her pots and pans and use her cooking utensils, the wooden cooking utensils, and be like Bam Bam. And from there, it just gravitated to marching bands, and I was in the drum corps and, things like that. And then I went to Grambling. I did go to Grambling University. It's a HBU college. I played drums there, and we got a call to come back and do a record. So I came back and did a record. But yeah, drums has been my life. It's my inspiration. It's my everything.
Who were a couple of your heroes on drums?
I have to say Cameo, Larry Blackman, Phil Collins, Stuart Copeland, to name a few.
Well, that's some good diverse, funk and rock right there.
Oh yeah.
Willie, what about you?
Sure. I started in music at the age of 7. My parents had brothers, so my parents brought us instruments. They got me a set of drums. So I kind of went 2 paths, basically playing by ear with drums, and then going through school. All throughout elementary, junior high, high school, I played the brass instruments, such as I started off with the trumpet, went to French horn, then baritone. And yes, we all met, performing against each other in high school talent shows. I didn't know I was being recruited at the time, but we were, basically just trying to add guys to our existing band. And so, I guess just something sprung from that through John Eaton. But yeah, I kind of went 2 paths with reading music and playing by ear in street bands, starting with my family band.
And who were some of your favorite artists growing up?
As far as trumpet, Chuck Mangione. I listened to all of the big bands in terms of, their horn sections, Cameo, Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Commodores, whoever had a horn section, I was listening to them. And in terms of drummers, I just more so gravitated toward, those different feels, like what the Commodores put on the intro to Brick House, or when the Time came out with 777, that funky drum beat they had, just things like that. I kind of gravitated toward listening and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if you would have come up a decade earlier, maybe you would have stayed more with the horns because they were so prevalent in the 70s, but in the 80s, the synthesizers kind of pushed them to the side a little bit.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I had to pick up a keyboard as opposed to, my horn.
Yeah. You got to roll with it, and you guys
Yeah.
did for sure. What was it like when you guys first connected? What were rehearsals like? How did you guys mesh, personality wise?
We were exploring. So we were kind of in between playing the top 40 stuff. And when I met these guys, they were kind of just writing their own stuff as well. So we were in the exploration phase of our music. And so from there, I was open to it. So I was pretty much following. Again, I had that background where the foundation was already there with certain instruments. So when it came to writing, I kind of put myself in a following mode as opposed to being a leader. As a matter of fact, in high school, I was always first chair. So I got to say that I always took first chair. So, to take a back seat was not even a challenge. I wanted to learn. So, yeah, I took a back seat and just followed these guys.
Yeah, for me, it was a passion for music. And, I used to write with Melvin and the lead singer and Gordon, the guitar player. It was just a passion I had to produce and write music, because I play by ear. So I would hear something, a melody or something, I would just try to play it. And then I would have somebody that could play the keyboard, play that part. And since I was into the passion of melodies and big drum sounds, I just gelled good when I first met Melvin and Gordon. We just started recording music. I was using the Linn drum back then, the Roger Linn drum that Prince used, so that got my creative juices going by using that drum machine and just the passion for it.
Yeah. Well, so you adapted also, because the electronic drums were also like the horns were going to the side, the regular drums
Right.
again pushed to the side a little bit.
Yeah, that Linn drum.
Yeah.
Plus, I think, what we were able to do naturally was allow each other's expertise to kind of just reign, whatever that was. I brought vocals along with Melvin. Gerald, of course, his rhythms. Gordon, he was, an ace on the guitar. So we allowed each other to kind of just bring that expertise into the fold, into the sound between Greg, myself, John, Gerald, Melvin, and Gordon.
And how did things develop before, we came to know the group through the debut album? How did things develop in terms of, a demo, getting signed, that kind of stuff?
So yeah, once we start writing and practicing what we wrote, we decided to go into the studio. We took our little money. I contributed like $10 because I was still in high school. So that's all I had. But Gordon and Melvin, they paid the bulk of it with their open house money. And we went in and cut like 5 records. And for a time, nothing actually happened. We cut the records and, we were excited about it, but time kind of set in. I would say a few months went by and Gordon decided that maybe we should go have Mojo, who's a DJ in Detroit, have him listen to it and see if we can get it played on the air, since he played whatever he wanted to play. And he was not subject to, like the playlist that DJs are normally subject to. So, they took it up to him. They stumbled upon him. So we were kind of lucky in that respect. And he saw at least 3 of us and played the stuff and liked it. So he put it on the air. And then the phones kind of lit up. He basically introduced us as the mystery group. So he played Tonight
Tonight.
and the song, the phones lit up from there, and so he saw that type of potential in us and told us he was going to make us international. So he hooked us up with his attorney, entertainment attorneys, and from there they helped us create a label, release the record, get signed with a major. After being shopped, for a few months, we were signed to MCA, and we did that because in Detroit we started getting in. Whoever was number one, we got in their way. So that's how we caught the attention of the record label.
We did a showcase for the record labels, and we went with Universal, which was MCA back then. But yeah, we had to do a showcase.
Were you guys nervous, or were you like, hey, we're going to kick some butt?
Ready to kick some butt. I can say that for myself. I wasn't nervous at all. I was ready to kick some butt.
No,
we was hungry.
We weren't nervous. Exactly. And not only that, we were doing what we were accustomed to. Be it playing someone else's music or playing our own, we were well versed, so we weren't nervous at all.
How much did you work up to that point on your stage presence and your presentation?
Not at all. What we did was we learned how to play well,
Right.
And so through talent shows, of course, if you play the hit song, people, they're gonna love you anyway. So we always chose the hits to play. But as far as stage show, we weren't there yet, to be honest with you. And we had to get there.
Us. Yeah, artist development.
Get there quick. Yeah,
had to go through artist development classes.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you guys got the MCA deal?
Optimistic, excited,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
Plus, for me, it was something where now we really have to bring it. So although we were very optimistic, it was time to really bring it and be consistent with it as well. So yeah, we were definitely excited though. Meeting these other acts that were on the label, like New Edition,
Guy.
Yeah.
Jody Watley, was she those before or
no? Jody Watley was on there, and there was we went to New York. They sent us out to New York. I can't remember. She had the #1 R&B record at the time, but I can't remember.
The Jets, right?
Name.
They were on it.
Yeah, the Jets were on the label. They came after us. I can't remember that lady's name off the top.
Patti LaBelle?
No, she was with someone else. I can't remember either.
So you get the deal, and you have 5 songs, you said?
Right. We cut 5 songs as demos.
And what 5? Did all 5 of those make the first record?
No. So let's see. We cut. These are the titles of the songs: "Oh Sheila," "Tonight," "Deep Inside Your Love," "Ceramic Girl," and "Drive 55." Oh, I'm sorry. "Do You Get Enough?" I'm sorry. So 6 songs.
Yeah.
All right. And I think "Do You Get Enough" didn't.
That made it.
The second
Drive 55 didn't make it.
Right. Drive 55 didn't make it. "Do You Get Enough" hit the second album, not the first.
Correct.
Right. So of the 6 songs, 4 made the first album.
That's pretty good average, I would say.
Yeah.
We're really off and running. Yeah. Did you recut those, or it wasn't the demo version?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. We had to recut them because of the quality, something about the quality. And once we began recutting them, we were missing the mark according to our attorneys. So they sent us back to where we originally recorded the songs, Bernard Terry in Flint, Michigan.
Rest in peace, Bernard Terry.
Yes, sir. So he was the genius behind the sound, behind what we got out of ourselves. He was it. So once we went back to him, recut the stuff, then it was all satisfactory.
What was it about him that you think, what did he bring to it that helped that sound gel?
I think between him and us, it was, first of all, his background was also band. He was in a band he did the sound engineering in his band. So he kind of knew the dynamics of music. And then in a closed studio setting, he was just that expert, especially on his own equipment. So he was definitely that engineer behind the sound that we brought out. And so between him and us, because we did fight at times on how loud a snare should be, or how much or how much punch to put on something, because of he's thinking, logically that it's gonna start to impact the speaker and get beyond a certain decimal.
You won't hear it on the radio. You won't hear the kick if you do it at this decimal. You gotta have this decimal. It was a lot of stuff. Right. But he was technical like that. He was so technical.
Which is good because we learned a lot from him. We did play tug of war because our thing was, let's just do what we feel, and he was like, no, you got to do it within these bounds. So it was cool.
How old were all of you when you got the deal?
I was
18. I was 18.
Yeah. We both were 18. I'm sorry. We were 17 when we cut the stuff and released our first record. But when we cut the deal, we were 18. And
Gerald, you dropped out of college to do that?
I had to make the decision to leave Grambling. It was a great decision. I would do it again.
Did your parents feel that way?
Not at first. My mom understood, but my dad felt I should have stayed. But after things start rolling, he started seeing the success, and that was my gift and my passion for music. He realized it was I made a good decision to go ahead and live my dream, live what I was born to do.
What were you guys thinking aspirationally? Were you thinking like we want to be like the next Time, or we want to be like the next Cameo, or we want to be like the next whoever?
I was just humble. I wasn't trying to be like anybody. I was just humbled the fact that we made it and was out there touring with Luther Vandross and all these, high profile artists. So for me, I always been just humble. I never got that big of a head like I want to be as big as Michael Jackson or big as Prince. It was just good to be in that limelight, living my dream.
And for me, I would say, although I am humble, I think in whatever you are in, you need to have that competitive edge. And sometimes being a little selfish is having that competitive edge. So with that, we looked at who was the biggest group ever, and I think it was the Beatles at the time. So we wanted to be better than the Beatles. And because I was always, again, in music, I wanted to be on top, first chair. And so that's what I was gunning for. Whoever was number one, I wanted to top them.
As far as, Minneapolis influence, though, did you guys consciously integrate that into your sound and your music, or was it just a natural thing that happened, or, how did your sound coalesce into what it was?
For me, it was just natural. From listening to the different Princes and the Time and Cameo or Luther Vandross or Stevie Wonder, it was just in my head, and that's just how it came out. Once I started messing with the drum machine, it wasn't intentionally. It was just a feel.
I'd have to agree with that. I mean, we definitely had influences growing up. I think we had the advantage of the best 2 decades in music growing up, the 70s and the 80s. And so all those influences, the different genres, and we listened to them all, even rock and roll. And we were able to grab something from all of that. And I think you hear that in the music even. So, yeah, I think it was that cross-pollination of all of these genres is how, and we weren't trying to mimic, no one group or act. It was just, it's something that came natural to us
organically
through the influences. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How much creative? It seems like you got a lot of creative freedom right out of the gate, though, because you guys got production credit on the debut, right? Unless I'm mistaken.
Right.
And being a self-contained band at that time in the mid 80s, it was starting to become a bit of a dying breed. So I was just so glad to see that part of it too,
Yeah, that was a blessing, especially as we progressed. We learned how, these artists didn't get that flexibility. And so I think that was attributed to the Gerald Busbys and the Lowell Silences of the world, who saw that in us and allowed us to be just that, produce our own music. And we appreciate that too.
What about in terms of, single choices and things like that? I mean, did you guys have any say in like ballads coming first or?
Yeah, we all used to bump heads about that, but it was, within the group, but yeah, it was us. And then, like he said, Loyal Silas Jr. will put his 2 cents in and we just go from there.
And then when it goes top 10, it's hard to argue to the contrary, right?
You're right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's correct.
So you had 2 hits before Sheila was like the 3rd single, right?
Right. Sheila was the 3rd single. Tonight was the first release. We originally released that on our label called Blue Lake Records, specifically in the Midwest region. And once we got signed, MCA picked it up and took it top 5 R&B.
Were you guys thinking all along that Sheila had the potential to just really be a hit, or did it catch you off guard a little bit?
For me, it felt good. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, I just felt confident about everything we put out. I thought that we had something, that chemistry that we had, the sound. I just felt real good about it. So I had no doubt in any material that we released.
Right. It just felt great. It felt good in the room. It sounded great, sonically, and you could dance to it. You could make love to it. It just sounded timeless. Like, you can hear it from years to years. That's how I felt about it.
How did each of you feel when you first heard your song on the radio, like the first time?
Like a kid in a candy store. I was excited.
Yeah, I remember what I was doing. I was playing basketball at a friend's house in their backyard at the time when I first heard the song on the radio. So yes, I was very excited. I had to stop playing basketball. I was so excited, and that's one of my favorite sports.
Did you have to tell bystanders, "Hey, that's me," or did they already know?
No. I mean, we were sort of popular in the Flint area through the talent shows already, so they, folks knew us.
Right.
And Gerald, you mentioned going out with Luther, and I'm sure that must have been a huge thrill. How soon did you do that? Was the record, were you guys already into Sheila yet, or was it before that?
Luther was our very, very first tour. He called us and wanted us to be his opening act. So that happened right out the gate. So that was a blessing. Right out the gate, we toured with Luther for 8 to 9 months a year.
Right. So we discovered that we didn't have the showmanship necessary until we got that call. So we had to go to work,
Right.
Yeah, and Luther's a perfectionist with what he does. So
Oh my God, yes.
Absolutely.
The sound, everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Learned
we learned a
from
lot
Luther.
on that tour for sure.
Sure did.
From him, from the band, engineering wise. I mean, just the whole gamut.
Yeah.
that must have been a thrill, though. I'm sure it was like a blur, right?
That was a blur.
Wow.
I mean, it's like you got to pinch yourself sometimes, and that was one
Yeah.
of those times.
Yeah. Tina Marie, you know, even watching Tina Marie shows with her, that was like amazing.
Love Tina Marie. Such a all-around talent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So sad both of them are not with us anymore. But
Right.
man, such great
Yes.
music they left us with.
Hmm.
So did you guys break away from Luther at some point and start headlining? Or, I mean, you were having so many hits, you must have started headlining some shows, right?
We didn't headline until our second album. So we did a lot of going on tour. We toured with the Gap Band, Luther, of course, the Gap Band, Kool and the Gang. We did a lot of spot dating, that sort of thing. Our second album was when we actually headlined, and that was with Bobby Brown. He was on that Girlfriend album at the time, so that was just before he jumped off. Yeah, we did like I want to say like maybe a 15 to 20 city tour.
Hmm.
And I got to mention for the viewers that Oh Sheila is in the record books, I believe, 4 number ones simultaneously, right?
Right, the Guinness Book of World Records. Yes. So you've done your homework.
Well, that's an impressive feat that still stands, I think. So
Yes. We made it in the Guinness Book of World Records, the first group to ever go number 1 across the board, 4 separate charts: dance, pop, R&B, and video. So we're very proud of that feat.
did you guys have fun with the videos?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the first video was Oh Sheila. That was the first video we ever did. So,
Yeah.
if you ever saw that video.
That video was really simple. It was in the club.
Yeah.
It was in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, New Jersey.
It was shot in the club. If you look at it, that was a club we were in. So, yeah, that was It
was a very small club too. So that's why you see a lot of close-ups.
Right.
And how'd you guys decide on the look, with the jerry curls and just your whole presence and image?
The curl was just our look.
Yeah,
okay. But the curl was our look.
What was in. The curl was in at the time. So we wanted to be relevant, of course. So, and we wanted that suit look. We had a lot of other acts doing different things. I think the time definitely had a suit look as well. So, we just wanted to be like sophisticated looking. So that's where that look came from.
Who ruled the jerry curl? Ray for the World or Full Force?
We're gonna let Full Force handle that.
We should do a versus.
There you go. Yeah, now we're talking.
When we see them, we go back and forth about that. Who had the best jerry curls?
Did you guys ever do any shows with them?
Yes, we've done some shows with them. Yes, in fact, we did one as recent as in 2017. We were down in, I want to say, was it Savannah? No, it was Augusta, Georgia. We did a show with them in Augusta. Those guys are funny. So, every time we see them.
Lou is really funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got some photos with him out there. It's cool.
But yeah, they can have that ring. Best jerry curls ever.
Got to do it versus, man.
So when you guys were taking it to the stage and the young ladies were losing their minds, were you guys prepared for that? Or, did you try to stay grounded? I mean, how did you respond to that?
I tried to stay grounded, but it didn't work because it was just temptation got the best of me. I'm gonna leave it at that.
And for me, yes, I tried to stay grounded. I was amazed, at how, I was truly amazed, but I definitely try to stay grounded because that's just the type of person I am. I'm kind of withdrawn, reserved, should I say. So I kind of maintain that on the road as well. When we off stage, I'm headed to the hotel, stuff like that.
I had a lot of fun. I endorsed
well, we
know
how drummers are, Gerald.
I was safe though. I kept myself safe though, protected.
No TVs thrown out hotel windows, I hope.
Nah.
I might have walked
we
outside
did some
on
crazy.
I walked outside on the ledge of a hotel before I did that. That was risky. I didn't think about it though. I didn't think of it. It was just something crazy.
Yeah, we've had some crazy moments out on the road. Some real crazy moments.
So if I would have been in the studio with you guys, cutting the first record or the second record even, what might I have seen in terms of how you guys went to work in the studio?
You would see us in a well-versed mode such that we don't waste no time in the studio. Now we understand that creativity happens in the studio, but we got to come in there knowing our stuff. We're cutting the track. We know our parts. We're not necessarily writing in the studio. We're recording in the studio. So that's probably the difference between what happens now and then. I get into the studio with a bunch of guys today, and they want to go in and write, and they want to feel good, and they want to have something, be it weed or some drink to make them relaxed, So it's a lot different today than it was, back then. But yeah, we came in first.
We did pre-production,
right?
So we produced it, and then went in there and finished it up in the studio. But we always did pre-production.
And what about the composition part of it? How did that come together, and how did you decide what would make the cut?
Bumping heads again.
Yeah, because I think more of the creativity happened in the mixing, and so putting things. That's where we bumped heads, and we kind of played tug of war with Bernard. So you definitely would have witnessed that. And then as far as making the cut, we would just go back and live with the songs, let other people hear them. And, just to see what the reaction would be, how we're feeling about it. And then we come together and decide on what's what.
Which member was the most stubborn?
Always the lead singer.
Yeah. I think it's between Melvin and Gerald. Gerald was a bit on the stubborn side. When it came to what he's putting in the song, he really didn't want to move on. He wasn't as flexible, and Melvin definitely wasn't flexible. So, some of the tug of warring came in there inflexible, them being not so flexible, I think. For instance, I'll give you an example.
Good.
So the drum machine, the Lynn drum, Gerald wanted, he turned the thing all the way down, almost all the way down. And that's what he felt in terms of the snare. And that's why you hear it like that, because Bernard didn't necessarily want it that low. So, Gerald won out because, that's the type of guy he is. So he won out in that respect, and it paid off because that was one of the identifiable parts of that song, is that low snare in the side stick.
Mm-hmm.
So then was he like, I told you?
No, I would never do that. I'm too humble.
And he was just doing what he felt. You know, we understood
Right.
that as well. But you know, I'm a technical guy, so I was more so on Bernard's side. You know.
Were there any like lessons learned from that first record that you kind of brought to the second one?
Yeah, sound. For sonic wise, sonically, what you're hearing. Yeah.
We learned
And
that
how
we
to stack
can
stack
right,
layers
you can
of vocals.
yeah, we definitely learned. Recording wise, we learned, and we also learned that you can lose a mix. You can lose a song in the mix.
Right.
So, you know, we had to be real careful and make sure that everybody is on board with, you know, how we're proceeding, you know, on a particular mix.
There's much more to this great Truth and Rhythm interview. Just continue on to the next part of the episode. Also, be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. And become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you very much.